morning, I'm Dan Brown. I'm one of the artists with Metal Arts, and today we're in downtown Okanogan where we get to do something which is really pretty cool. You may not think it this way very often, but it's a cool way to think about art. It's a way to time travel. If you look at art, you can go back in history and you can see all kinds of cool things. Like if you look at Egyptian artwork, you can see what they wore, how they got their food, how they traveled. It's just amazing. And in Okanogan, we can do the same thing through a man who came from Japan. His name is Frank Matsura. If you've ever been to another town or another country, everything seems exciting because it's all new to you. Well, Frank Matsura was new to the United States, so everything he saw he was interested in, and he photographed it all. Another cool thing about Frank Matsura is he must have been a really nice guy because he got everybody to pose for him. Frank Matsura came here about 120 years ago, and it was a really interesting time period in history because here in Okanogan, most people were riding horses, but a few cars were starting to show up, and the whole world was changing. And so Frank Matsura caught pictures of some of that Okanogan world before it changed. If you walk around town, there are about 20 of these murals around town on the different buildings. And each mural has a little plaque with some information on it. And now they have a little QR code, so if you put your phone on it, you can get even more information about Frank Matsura. Now I have a whole list of activities you can do based on Frank Matsura. The first one is just look at them and study them and see what was happening 120 years ago in Okanogan. What people wore, how they got around, what they ate, what they looked like, and that's just a fun history lesson in itself. Other things you can do is you can try to find the same spots where these photos were taken and take your own photos of what they look like today. And perhaps you can even put them together so you can see the differences. Another thing you can do is pretend you're Frank Matsura and take your camera and take photos of things that you think people would be interested in 120 years from now. Right now we're down by the Okanogan River. We're real close to the bridge that's by the post office. I call it the Post Office Bridge. And we're at a monument to Frank Matsura. And this monument was made by Doug Woodrow, a great supporter of Okanogan, who has a business sandblasting rocks. And he thought it was fitting to have a monument to Frank Matsura near the place where Frank Matsura's photography shop was located. Another thing you can do is try to dress up like one of the people in the murals. You may have seen this spring. There's a whole bunch of people on the internet doing that with famous pieces of artwork, and you can try it too. Another thing you can do is you can visit our historical museum in Okanogan where they have many more Frank Matsura photos. And if you grew up here or have been here for a long time, you can even search for people that have the same last names of people you know, and these people might be their grandparents or their great-grandparents, which would be so fun to see if they look like their grandkids.
Frank Matsura was born in Japan, and after traveling to Seattle, moved to Konkanoli to work at the Elliott Hotel in 1903. Matsura began to photograph life around him, documenting everything from the construction of dams to working people on the street. His friendly nature helped him build relationships with his community, and he became well known in the region, opening his own studio in the newly founded town of Okanogan in 1907. He took pictures of parades, sports teams, landscapes, and people young and old. Sadly, he died in 1913 of tuberculosis. Today, his pictures give us an incredible window
what people
into the
wore,
history of this area,
how they got around, what they ate, what they looked like, and that's just a fun history lesson in itself.